Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I do mostly talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, so if that all sounds like you'd be interested to watch to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, just make sure you hit like and subscribe. But I'm going to have to actually make a video talking about this heat wave that I have been under here in Calgary, Alberta, and actually pretty much of Western North America. We've been under this, what they call heat dome. It's been a high pressure system that has set right over the Pacific Northwest and the provinces of British Columbia and Alberta, and it's making its way west now, and hopefully maybe later tonight we'll actually have a thunderstorm and actually see temperatures drop below 20 degrees here in Calgary, so I can maybe actually get some cool air to come into my apartment because I don't have any air conditioning. But it's definitely been stunning to be going through this heat wave as this whole week. I mean, temperatures here in Calgary has been in the mid 30s, where we've been breaking daily records every day this week. And actually today supposedly it's the coolest day it's been in a week, and it's only going to get to 30 degrees. And it's definitely been hot in my apartment. It's 29 degrees in my apartment as of this right now, but even given how big this story is, it's gone all over the world. Even the whole world's talking about it. And this heat wave is so hot that ultimately a Canadian record was set 3 times, all in the community of Lytton, British Columbia. And it does get really hot in that interior part of British Columbia. I mean, you got the Okanagan Valley where you got Kelowna, Kamloops, and you got Penticton and Osoyoos. And it does kind of fascinate me just given how Canada's laid out. That where here in Calgary, going out east, you got the prairies, and you go out west, you got the Rocky Mountains, and then to Vancouver, you got the Ocean Coast and the Pacific Coast Mountains. But you get the semi-arid, dry valley, the Okanagan Valley. And then the Tops Nicola region, where west of Kamloops, I have been out in that area where, I did a scenic drive one time when I left Vancouver to go up Highway 99 through Vancouver to see the Sea to Sky Highway through Squamish, and eventually definitely grow. Eventually you get to Lillooet, or in Highway 99, and there's Highway 12 that connects down to go to Lytton. Definitely going to be talking about Lytton a bit in this video, and then meets up with Highway 1, and that's how I went the scenic way to Kamloops one time, where Lytton is on the Trans-Canada Highway, Highway 1, go through Spencer Bridge, Ashcroft, and eventually Kamloops. That part of the country in the province looks like a desert, but it's definitely been the hottest spot, and Lytton's been named as Canada's hot spot, and definitely established that. And actually Wikipedia even has a page called the 2021 Western North America heat wave. As we're definitely not as acclimatized to it up in the Pacific Northwest and in this part of the country. I'm definitely not. Usually I say 35 degrees is when I say it gets too hot, unless the humidity is low. But the humidity here has been high enough that it feels humid, and the fact that when you look at the overnight lows, that the overnight lows are almost as high as the normal high for this time of year, and that's where the temperature can get below 20 degrees, so it doesn't really cool off your apartment. But I know people out in the interior of British Columbia, they're acclimatized for temperatures in the mid-30s, but not in the mid to high 40s. As coming in, the highest temperature ever recorded in this heat wave happened in Lytton, where it reached 49.6 degrees Celsius, or 121 degrees Fahrenheit. That is now the highest temperature record ever in Canada. So we're not known just as a cold country. And the other thing that stunned me, that this record high all time that happened in Canada recently in the community of Lytton, that's the hottest it's ever been in Canada, obviously, and then beat the record back in 1937 in Milldale and Yellowgrass in Saskatchewan, where it was 45 degrees. The hottest it's ever been in Canada actually is slightly hotter than it's ever been in Las Vegas. Keep that in mind. That tells you how hot it is. And then you hear in the Pacific Northwest, in the big cities like Seattle and Portland, where it's hit 40 degrees here. I mean, fortunately here in Calgary, we're high enough in the atmosphere that it doesn't get as hot compared to the valley. That's why it gets really hot in the valley in British Columbia. I think it's kind of the same thing out, say, out in California, in the Sonora Valley and Palm Springs, where it's lower in the valley. And then now Death Valley is where the hottest it's ever been in the U.S. And it's only 5 degrees short of Lytton's record, where it almost reached 50 degrees. And I've seen, temperatures, in the mid-40s in Kamloops and Merritt, Kelowna and Osoyoos. That's where even they have to say, yeah, we're not acclimatized to mid-40s. And the other thing I keep thinking of during this whole time is mid-30s feels like it does. I mean, I have been to Cabo San Lucas in New Mexico in late July, and high 30s felt hot. I can only imagine what high 40s feels like, especially with some humidity and no wind. But the other thing that's, made this heat wave definitely very, very, impressive, you can say, is how early in the season it is. I mean, this was straddling the end of June, going into July, and we've already had many days over 30 degrees in Calgary. But I see temperatures in the mid-40s, and then that's the other thing that's got me worried, and it's already happened. And unfortunately, in the community of Lytton, where after 3 straight days, they hit a Canadian all-time high temperature record. Wildfires has been spawning all over in that province, and that's another thing that's definitely starting to happen more frequently, is more wildfires going out there, and unfortunately that smoke eventually is going to come here, and it's going to be choking on smoke. That's the unfortunate part. I mean, hopefully everyone is, safe and able to rebuild in Lytton, because they said that community, and it was like suddenly fire started and the whole town was burnt down. I mean, well, when you've had 3 straight days of temperatures over 45 degrees and almost 50 degrees, and it's freaking dry, I mean, that should be no surprise. And the cause of the fires of this has not been determined, but there was one said that maybe it was a spark from the rail line, where the CN and CP lines that go through there, that might have started that fire. So it gives you, tell you how dry and fragile it is. And even with some thunderstorms, it's definitely, lightning even strikes in, and there's definitely fire bans. And then, of course, factor in that we're still in a pandemic too. I mean, climate change definitely, you're going to probably see more of these heat waves, but it's definitely become international news, where I've been looking online talking about not only just with the local media, and the Weather Network here in Canada talking about how hot it's been, but I've been seeing, BBC, I think French 24 and News Network in Australia even talking about how hot it's been here right now, and it just kind of stuns me that it can get this hot in Canada like it has, and we're definitely not acclimatized to it. And I say mid-40s, wow. And we're just at the start of July. And believe it or not, as hot as it's been here in Calgary, I mean, we set all-time high for, June and July already. It actually did not quite hit the hottest temperature it's ever been. We're only talking about fractions of a degree. I mean, the hottest it's ever been in Calgary happened back in August 2018, where it got to 36.5 degrees, and I remember that days it was very smoky. That if it wasn't for the smoke and haze, there might have been a few more degrees added on to that, but there was many days where it was 35, 36 degrees, but thankfully it's going to get a little cooler just in time for the stampede. But and then the other unfortunate thing that the story also touched on, that there's been way more deaths, unfortunately, from people passing out from heat stroke and that, and that's been one of the unfortunate causes of it. I just had to make a video talking about this heat wave. I was like, wow. I mean, I've been trying to stay in as much as I can. I mean, I have taken a few extra days off from work, not knowing it was going to be this freaking hot, but it was actually nice to be in the office with air conditioning, and there was actually some people that purposely came in to work from home, saying I would want to work at home this day, but no, I got to get into the office. Just the air conditioning, it all depends on personal circumstances. I know that there's one partner that, in the office I work at, he's surrounded by windows, that he actually said, screw this, I'm going home because I have air conditioning at home, not in the office. So that just kind of reminds me of, it's kind of the other stories you hear in the wintertime where you hear somebody breaks out of prison and then they surrender or purposely break back into prison when it's too cold. I can only imagine, especially if you're not acclimatized to this. But I just say, what do you think of this heat wave? I mean, I think it's going to be something that you're might going to be seeing more of, more frequently. And not only that, it's been the duration of it. I mean, basically 3 or 4 straight days, or even 5 in Calgary. We set record highs for that particular day, whether late in the end of June or early July, for this heat wave. And thankfully we're higher up in the atmosphere that it's never gotten to 40 degrees in Calgary. And I can only imagine what mid-40s feels like, especially when everyone says we're used to mid-30s but not mid-40s. And it's just stunning that even, sometimes we spec equipment to range from plus 40 to minus 40. We definitely hit that range in Canada throughout the whole year. And another thing I've been coping is that, it was only 4.5 months ago I needed a hot bath after taking the first weekend of Chinook Blast because it was below minus 20 out. Being outside for a couple hours, I've been needing to take some cool showers and baths a couple times a day just to cool off because it's freaking hot outside. And been trying to stay safe in here, but it's still pretty hot in here. But hopefully this thunderstorm is going to come to cool things off. But it's just impressive and massive with this heat wave. I'll put the Wikipedia link in the description below. It's big enough that this heat wave with the heat dome has been over the the western part of North America, and they call it the Omega Block. When you look at the jet stream, it looks like the Omega, which is why this heat wave has been slow. Because not only the Pacific Northwest, western provinces in Canada, but even a couple spots in Yukon, in Northwest Territories, they even hit over 30 degrees, and that temperature is even hotter here in Calgary. So I just say we're definitely not acclimatized to this compared to, let's say, the desert states in the U.S. and even it's much hotter, and the fact that probably more people have air conditioning down there. I just feel here that you only maybe need it for a week or two, and other than that, you don't use it. I'm just wanting to suck it up for a week or two. That when it's really hot, if it's really bad, I can always, like I say, have a cold bath or shower, or go to a nearby motel village, book a room so I could stay in an air-conditioned room and have a pool if it came to that, and probably be less than maybe to try to get an air conditioner installed for only a week or two. But at least here where I am, the relief is coming, and I have seen the temperature slightly dropped in the parts in the U.S. and in Canada. But unfortunately, the wildfire smoke definitely is getting worse, and that's just being an unfortunate part of it. But I have to say, if you are where you are, how have you been coping with this heat wave? What do you think? I mean, of course, when I was growing up, I was also fascinated with the weather and all that, but I'm actually just been fascinated how this has come to be. And this might be something we might see more of, longer, hotter heat waves, colder cold snaps. But just blows me away. Canada's known for being cold, and that Lytton, British Columbia, almost hit 50 degrees, and that record high slightly beats Las Vegas's record high, and we were only a couple degrees short, within 5 degrees of matching Death Valley, which apparently that's the hottest it's ever been in North America. Canada is getting there, and the fact that I've seen clips from news stations around the world talking about this, so it's definitely big news. If we're in it right now, but the rest of the world's talking about, it's like it's gotten hot in Canada, and they're thinking, Canada? Hot? To that degree? Pun intended. Yes. So I just say, anyway, enough of this. So as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders. I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my each channel, but I felt I had to make a video just touching on this heat wave. Definitely been living through it, and I guess the pun intended, that's why we're called the Flames, but we're not that hot. But I also do writing non-sports content, like personal logs, attempt at comedy, and I also do share my experience them on the road or a sport event, and I've been doing some more vlogging on the go, and definitely haven't done much of that the last few days just because it's too GD hot to be able to do it comfortably. But when it's not as hot as it's been, I've been doing that. So if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, you do just make sure you like, subscribe, I also have my other social media links down in the description for other ways you can follow me, and I'll put the Wikipedia link in the description below for the heat wave that has its own page, the Western North America heat wave, and also put down all the extreme temperatures that have been hit right here in Canada. As the all-time high used to be 45 degrees for 80 years, but that's been taken to the curb and smashed this week alone. Not just in Lytton, but in Lillooet, Ashcroft, Spencer Bridge, Merritt, Kelowna, Kamloops, Soyuz, where it's normally in the mid-30s at this time of year. And I do enjoy that heat when I have gone out there. I just don't, I think my mid to high 40s, that's where even they say that is too effing hot. That's where, you know, when you like something spicy. But when it gets to the point that you can't taste it anymore, it just burns. I guess that's kind of the same thing there. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.